What's up, everybody? Got no intro. But I got my friend Hannibal here. Haven't seen Hannibal in a minute, so happy about that. And yeah, what's up, Hannibal? How you been?
I've been busy, but it's always great to, hang with you and do the things that we used to do, chat, talk about gig work, this is, I'm working a lot. So sometimes just doing this is my social time to talk
Right,
to
yeah.
someone else and talk about certain things that you can't really talk to your regular W2 normies about. So yeah, it's great to be here.
Are you a W2 normie?
Well, my wife is. I used to be. You used to be. We were
I
all
know, no. I know your wife is because I remember. I know the reason I know, and I even know what she does is because there was a time when you mentioned it, and nobody except for me even knew what it was. I mean, I don't think she is the one of the city, but she works for Comptroller, right?
Well, no, she works for transportation. So she
Okay.
works for MTA.
Yeah.
So she does that, and she's been doing that for maybe 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
She's been there for a while. So she's a city employee in New York City.
Right. I think it was just because the conversation somehow came up about Comptroller and nobody knew what it was, and I was like, that's actually like a really high-ranking position in any city.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would say, regardless of what jobs, in terms of really long-standing, secure positions in New York City,
Mhm.
it's those city jobs.
Yeah.
Cops, corrections, fire department, transportation. You have those jobs, you're good. You know what I mean? Compared to
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
that are paying this ridiculous rent and surviving.
Yeah. So, hey, Traveler. Hey, Gigan. Hey, Rodney. You guys all know who this is. I don't need to be telling you nothing. Um, I will tell this because I was telling Hannibal, and I know some of you guys are probably, some of you watching are probably familiar with this because we've been talking about it. I'm not going to get into it here too much, but this just came out, so I just want to at least mention it. So we had the food transparency law in January. We had the rideshare transparency law in February. So now Hannibal, just to bring you up to speed, here in Colorado, they have to show you everything and it can't change. So if you tip, and in fact, I tried on Uber because I started to wonder, dude, what's stopping me from telling every friend I have to tip $100 and then remove it? Because Uber still has to pay it.
Right.
So almost like tip bait me, but tip maybe like 100 times what you would have tipped me. Like, but I went in and you can't remove a tip anymore. You can't everywhere else in the country, but you can't here. I even went into Uber. Uber doesn't even let you remove a tip anymore. It says call customer support.
And you can go through all that.
So, but now it's transparent anyway. So now, I mean, that's what I always wanted, right? Now remove the acceptance rate, and I really don't have much of a beef with you. I don't like what you're doing, but I mean, at least it's there and I can make my own decisions,
Yeah.
But now what they want is this Senate bill 25-1291, and its final hearing is tomorrow because Thursday is the last day to pass anything in this session. And one of the House members, because it started in the House, was sexually assaulted in a lift in 2023. And so she's spearheading this bill, and this bill is to stop assault, harassment, kidnapping, all of the dangers. And what it was the full-blown thing they hadn't changed anything. But the full-blown one was, if you're a Lyft or an Uber driver, you have to have a rideshare camera in your car. And anytime you turn on the app, the camera turns on.
Okay.
So it's like a cloud upload, raw data, all of a sudden, I was trying to mention this, and 30,000 rideshare drivers in Colorado, that's expensive, man. And people don't really understand that. Like, that dash cam is one thing, but raw footage, having to go to the cloud and back and have your own phone line on each one of those cameras. I mean, that's an expense for these companies.
Right. Obviously, because the data has to be stored somewhere. It has to be someone.
But you know this too. People always say, like, but it's Uber and Lyft. They can afford it. Well, they don't make any profit. How can they afford it? Like it's expensive.
It's expense, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
I
But
would,
it wasn't even that. The reason Uber said they'd leave, Lyft hasn't said anything, but the reason Uber said they'd leave is because they said that they're going to be sued every single day now because the driver and Uber can be sued without class actions anymore here as well. So they tried to throw all this stuff into a bill, but now here the regurgitated version that came out today is they're removing some of the things, and I guess Uber's claim is they're still leaving. So they say that they're I guess the only real takeaway to even mention here tonight, because we can talk about this Thursday, but is that they're going to make it so that and normally we know how Uber works, it would be an opt out, but they're going to make you opt in as passengers and as drivers to the camera program. So like if I'm a passenger and it's not going to be some hidden thing and I launch the app, from what this says, it's going to say, would you like all of your rides to be videotaped? If I say yes, I'll only be placed with other drivers who allowed it.
okay. I mean I understand, I guess, the concept of having a camera there for some level of protection. I remember that story. This happened a long time ago, and I guess the person who actually did this got sentenced to life. Remember the woman, Uber driver, mom of four, and she got killed. And she had the camera. They had the camera really, but it wasn't. It's it's unfortunate. You could have that camera, but if you're not able to communicate to the authorities, is just a record of something terrible happening rather than necessarily save, you know what I mean? Like in terms of saving someone in the middle of a panic button, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Um, eh, you, it's a hard, it's not easy. It's not an easy answer. Like, you have a solution. Like, what would you think would be the best solution? Because a passenger is going to opt out, of course, if they want to do something stupid, like, oh yeah, I just won't go to the car that doesn't have the camera to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what would you do? Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's no real easy.
No, but I said this last week. I'm sure that not some people understood, but this is the first time ever I'm on the side of Uber. Leave. They're shoving. I mean, this is too far. This is people. I mean, a camera. Where's it going to be? And if I lean over to unlock a door, is it going to look like I touched your boob or something accidentally? Is that footage going to be taken wrong? Because I'm still going to run my own dash cam. I said last week as well that, like, do I trust Uber to hold this footage?
Mhm.
I mean, Uber gets hacked 25 times a day and everything's stolen. Like, why are they not using a third party? Well, I mean, I guess they're not going to. They're going to leave. And I was even looking down here, and it says all of the restructure of this was done with only Lyft. Uber didn't even attend.
So Lyft is okay with this.
I don't know. I all the articles have said, like, Lyft has denied comment until today, and now I'm seeing that they've been fully involved with the Senate and the House since last week, to changing it to this. And it said that they asked Uber what they're going to do, and Uber didn't decline to say anything. They said we're still leaving.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because this would be that time in the midnight hour where they'd go, you know what? Like, okay, we'll stay. But they're not. They're saying, like, dude, you've overstepped. And again, I'm not working for Uber, guys. I don't believe in almost anything they do. But I mean, this is how, I mean, I guess this is just what it comes to, is that both sides are really, it's like everything in life. Nobody can just talk anymore. Everybody has to take the extreme opposite measure and not ever meet in the middle. So we can't have any good solutions. We just get horrible
Yeah. I mean,
trade-offs.
there's definitely, especially when you have someone who's in a, not saying that this one person is in an extreme position. Something really, really awful happened, and I mean, she is trying to find a way it never happen again to anyone else, and that's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're pushing so much other unintended circumstances and consequences. But like you're saying, that there can be even more lawsuits or more issues, even introducing the camera or being forced. I mean, I think for rideshare drivers and passengers, you have to have some level of trust. Like, okay, most of the time, nothing's going to go wrong. But if you believe jumping in that something's going to happen, then you may need to figure out either a different position to do some of the gig, or as a passenger, some other way to move from one location to the next, right? Like there is an inherent risk to leave your house, right?
Yeah,
There is a risk to go outside.
there's a risk. I mean,
Anything.
just keep it in the gig world. There's a risk to being a delivery driver now, big
Right.
time.
So can you fix every single aspect, to make it perfect? No, but like you said, there should be some compromise on certain aspects. I I thought they would make the Uber drivers pay for that cloud storage feature. Like, yeah, you guys have to pay $10 a month, and you got to do at least one ride, and then it'll deduct that. But the fact that they're going to they're leaving, but Lyft, I guess, will fit the bill. That's very expensive.
I don't think Lyft. I mean, I think this is Lyft. Lyft will only stay if Uber stays, and I think somehow in here, Uber's wanting a little more, but they'll stay.
Yeah.
I mean, they already folded. Like every time we talk about one of these, they fold. They don't ever stick to what they say. This is how it's going to be, and we're not changing it anymore. Well, you just changed it yesterday, and it's getting its final read tomorrow.
Yeah. So this may be a totally different buy.
Right. I mean, I know that, we have one of the worst governors in the country. And I know he was against this bill. And normally, like him and I see on eye to eye on nothing. And he was like, this bill needs work. This is but I know he probably also gets some money from Uber. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I think I'll go with what you're saying. Most likely will be even changed again. There's too much money on the line.
Right. And just the way I was just skimming through this, it's just too confusing too. Like, oh, you're a non-video rider. Oh, you're a video rider. Oh, you're an audio rider, because they got the audio option too. Like, no, I don't want to be videoed, but audio tape me, and I only want to be put with audio video drivers. Like, because you're right, man. None of the people committing crimes are going to sign up for any of this.
Why would they do that? Why would sign with audio? Like, no, nothing. Then
right,
or you're doing that by your own equipment. It needs work, like you said. It needs some work.
I do find this like this is just a stat that came out on the House floor today, and I had to. I mean, it does say in Uber's latest United States safety report. So in 2021 and 2022, Uber alone had 22,717 reports of sexual assault.
How many rides?
That's about 5 to 6 a day.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
I'm kind of surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mix. It's a mix of extremes, but you're going to have people who are going to grossly interpret something. Definitely. Something that didn't necessarily happen. However, you do have some really chatty Uber drivers who are probably a little bit too friendly. Some are weird, creepy, and those are they're making things terrible for drivers overall. But 5 to 6 a day, and there's like, I don't know how many rides.
It actually would be more. 27, 365. I mean, it's actually like 7 or 8 a day.
Yeah.
That's just the United States.
It's people lie. There are creeps. There are creeps out there. There's some people who are a little bit too chatty, and there are definitely people who are looking for something, like in terms of a lawsuit, trying to get some money, not trying to pay for a ride. How many of those actually result in convictions? I'm assuming not lot many, unless it's like obvious SA happening.
Yeah, but I maybe that's part of it too, is that they want you to they
remember, this is how in Uber, that's how Uber is so afraid of litigation. So as soon as they hear any instance of it, they're ready to deactivate the driver without even having that level of let's spend some time to investigate this matter. It's like, well, this the driver, the rider says something, and let's just cut this driver loose. It's not
Yeah, but
working.
now, but in the transparency laws, now we have a human deactivation review board too. So if you get deactivated from Uber or DoorDash or any of them, actually, you can demand a 7-person human review of your deactivation,
Oh.
which takes it beyond the algorithm. Welcome, everybody.
Good transition. Yeah, I mean that's not bad. I mean, right? You talk to a human and a human being that's in this same country that you're in, right?
Yeah, no,
somewhere
7
else.
people in Colorado.
In Colorado. Yeah, so that's even better.
Yeah. I mean, there are 2 union members on there, but there's like 5, like 4 are drivers, one's an attorney. So is there some bias? I don't know, but at least it's a human review, and even union people would probably be likely to reactivate you.
Yeah.
Like, even me not being a big union guy, like they would probably most likely be against the algorithm and be like, reactivate him.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so I guess, you know, it was like 30 months ago. It was 2.5 years ago that we did this.
Wow.
That's how long ago it was. And I was like watching one and I'm like, kind of still applies. Like, I'm like somebody could watch some of those and think that we recorded it yesterday. It's weird.
When you was telling me all this updates, you know, about what's going on to the law, I'm like, nothing's really changed. Like, nothing's really changed. It's the same issues that gig workers face every day in terms of, you know, how much work is out there, what's the value of the work. Obviously, safety issues. I just heard, I think I saw a video about a DoorDash driver getting shot, they're lost or something like that, got shot. Like, these are the same, like nothing really changed. People still lie about not getting their food, or you still have issues with rideshare drivers and rideshare riders. So nothing really changed. So like the things that we did talk about in terms of finding other ways to maximize your income still apply.
I know, and that's kind of, you know, that's my hope of doing some of these. Like, I'm, you know, like Joe, like Let's Play DoorDash. He doesn't even do DoorDash anymore.
Yeah.
At all. Like, he was doing a little, but now he doesn't at all. He still has his full-time job, but he's doing like Storage Wars.
Oh, okay.
He's in Detroit buying lockers at these auctions.
Nice. Yeah, I used to watch the show. I mean, I know a lot of it was fake, but
yeah.
But I'm assuming there's still a market just to get some decent stuff every once in a while.
Well, so he'll be on, and Gig Geezer's coming on about building an actual business, taking it beyond the apps and doing some of that. So that's what we're going to be kind of focusing on, is like just trying to, maybe something catches with anybody on any given episode. Yeah. And it's like, man, not that, but I can do this. Like, because everybody should be, I mean, if it's just flexibility still, the pay has changed. And so the flexibility is so super helpful, but are you landing clients? You know, I would add to what you were saying about it's still the same. It is, but there's way more hands in the lawsuit pool now.
Yeah.
You know, like Uber's paying more, cities are getting more, like the drivers aren't getting more, but the companies are now paying more that they just should have given the drivers in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if in New York City, I don't know if we had the minimum wage when we were talking. Maybe they did. I know they were talking about that. Like, now there's the minimum wage here in New York City. I don't think a lot of these drivers get tips, especially food delivery. It's only if you're ordering something kind of outside of like your regular major fast food chains, the other restaurants, that they will actually have a tip. But I would say 95% of what you're ordering, there's no tip. So they're getting the $17 an hour. And, you know, you said this from as long as I've known you, you said you basically just made a ceiling. And you're going to make that. That's how you're going to make that. And that's it. So, you know, definitely for me, you know, unfortunately, that's not enough money for me to pay the bills. So it was just something that I, you know, had to abandon it before that. But even then I realized that this is not going to work. This now is a segment of people who are going to do this and do it and spend all day outside doing that. But I realized that that wasn't going to be me because it wasn't good anymore.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that is what that is what it is that in each market everybody finds their thing. I mean, I'm still doing last mile courier, not just curry, but most of my work is courier stuff, like I do it, and I enjoy it more too.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'd rather get paid more money, and even if it involves lifting and carrying stuff and doing things, I don't care. I'd rather do that
Yeah.
than fight for $2 offers.
The best example I've seen on YouTube, at least in terms of courier or gig work, of really taking a hold of your business and getting clients, is Jeff from Mike Drop
Oh
Barbecue.
yeah.
I think he has the best example of what you should do if you're still interested in doing, let's say, for instance, the ride share, and aggressively trying to find your own clients and not taking what the apps are giving you, and finding ways to, I guess what he says, take them off the app or have private clients and getting your schedule together. That is probably the best example, at least for, I think a lot of people could do that if they put the effort in.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that you can have.
And he calls it what it is. It's poaching. He's like,
Right.
use the apps for what they're for, take a ride.
Right. I
You
remember
like the
you had
people.
you did a dumpling, and you had, you was like, I'll do some Instacart, but I'm only going to put my business card, like, I can get this better, save you money, because that's the thing that Jeff talks about is you're going to pay the app way more money for the ride. And as a driver, they're going to get way less. So how about I even reduce a little bit? You save money, I get more money. It's a win-win. And he's a true, like he says, a true independent contractor. He is in his right to negotiate fares. So, like, I think that's the best way, or at least one of the best examples I've seen of what you guys are already doing. You're already driving your car. You already know the neighborhood. You already know what's going on. You know the people. You don't necessarily need the app as much
Yeah.
as a lot of people think they do.
I mean, I still work the apps, but I mean, like, I also, like when you and I first started doing live streams years ago, like, I mean, there was no other work in my production realm to be had. Now there's production work all over.
Yeah.
So now I can, and Max is off to college here soon, so like I'm kind of not tied down as much.
More free time.
Like I can go do some things that and it's important because on those gigs I can make a lot more money, obviously, but I can make a lot more money in like a 5-6 day run than I can in like a couple weeks of working gig work.
Yeah.
It's like 5 days away and back home is like what I do. I'm thinking I'm even being nice here in like 14 days here.
Right. Yeah.
So
You
it's
might as well you don't want to. I mean, if you're gonna put that much time, like you said, a couple days, it has to be worth it, right? Instead of doing like this daily grind that a lot of us are doing, and some people are getting frustrated. But we are talking about gig work and what we do with these apps. But if you go on YouTube, there's tons of people working the normies, the W-2 jobs, and they hate it. There's somebody be laid off. I mean, actually, there's tons of layoffs happening right now.
that was going to be my other thing, is that like, I am not, and I didn't think you were either, sitting here and saying, guys, gig apps are dead, go to W-2, because W-2s aren't really happening either.
No, I think a lot of companies are at least anticipating some recession. We may be already in a recession, and obviously the government is trying to cut a lot of jobs and trying to be efficient as well. So it's more competition in gig work, because if you got laid off and maybe you had your severance starts to wear thin, is about to be done, you got a car, you may apply, and there's one more person doing some kind of ride share or doing food delivery or the other stuff. So it is important to kind of get your client base up in order where they, clients trust you, you trust them, and keeps you going, because I think it's possible that maybe even more people try and gig work over the next couple of months.
Oh yeah. And obviously the apps are going to love that. They're going to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Like low ball offers, like, cool, we got a bunch of people. We know most are gonna leave, but we'll use them for a while, you
definitely,
know.
definitely.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's always been something in my head too. Like when I used to talk to some of the taxi people where taxis went extinct, even they used to, like most of those markets had like a cap on how many cabs could be out on a Tuesday or a Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, maybe,
They
that's a thing that
they
should be looked
tried to
at.
do that, I think, in New York City. I think they were trying to figure out a way to limit. I don't know if it's successful. Don't quote me on that, but I think they were like at one point. I think a lot of people realized there's too many Ubers and Lyfts are outside.
Hmm.
Traffic is crazy. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess congestion pricing limit that. There's probably not that many really going in and out of Manhattan the way you have to pay so much money to get in and out. Um, but yeah, I think a cap does make sense. Like, how many cabs do you need to have in a given area at a given time? Like,
Yeah. And that's some of the cab drivers that I know who did it for decades. Like, we're like, dude, it worked. If there was a 500-person cap in my city on Tuesday, it worked. That's how many you needed, and we would all be busy.
yeah. But people want things fast, man. They want that. They want to have that Uber in 2-3 minutes. I remember back in the day, Steve. Back in the day when you called your cab dispatcher, and it was
Mhm.
in 10 minutes. Well, it took a little bit, but it wasn't the end of the
Or at
world.
least they would say that.
The same thing. It wasn't. You take your phone out and here, like, now I could probably get an Uber in 2 minutes. Uber is
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I get 2 minutes. It'll come right around the house right here. Do we need it that fast? Probably not, but we like it. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people want it that fast. They do. They don't want to think ahead. They don't want to,
yeah,
even 10 minutes. Like it's more
no,
like,
wrong kid.
like when your wife's ready or when your husband's ready and okay, let's finally order it. We're at the door and actually ready, not getting ready.
Getting ready. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
um, but yeah, I don't know. So you've almost completely stepped away. You're still doing your pet stuff, and that was more dumpling like, more independent contractor like. I'm doing some of this, and you were doing all these. And what about your YouTube channel now, which is completely gone, insanely popular? But now, aren't they gonna like torch Tiffany or something? I don't even know. I
Yeah,
just don't think there's a future for her.
no, no, no. She's done. She's no longer the mayor. The new mayor got actually sworn in yesterday, actually. So she's no longer mayor, and she lost the township supervisor. She's gonna lose that in 2 weeks. So she's done. But yeah, the YouTube has definitely picked up. I would say this is probably on my second year of, I guess you could call full-time income.
Yeah.
Before, just doing it because I started about 5 years ago, pandemic. Um, the dogs was keeping me going, and I still do it. I still do it full time. I basically have two full-time jobs, and I think it's important for me to have them because I think even before I thought, once I'm able to do YouTube full time, I'm gonna kick the dog and cat stuff down, curb. I don't need it anymore. Forget those dogs. No, and I think a lot of YouTubers, they when you talk to them, they do not just do this. They always have something else going on. Some are very successful and still have a W-2 or something else happening because of YouTube. You never know what's going to change. Something could change tomorrow. I can get my account taken down tomorrow. So I think it's important to always have something else because in YouTube you get paid once a month, and things can change overnight with a different policy implementation. What they do with the ads. So I think in my opinion, most of successful content creators have some kind of a different business.
Yeah.
I think the best ones, in my opinion, the best content creators or YouTubers, they have a business already that's not necessarily connected to the content creation of YouTube, but they use the content creation to draw leads into their business. Whether you're a fitness trainer or even if you're a gardener, you have a skill and you develop a business and you bring leads by them watching your videos. So you don't need to have a billion views to make a lot of a good amount of money. You just need enough that's interested in your business. I think the
Yeah.
best way to do content creation to drive leads into your business. I don't have that. I just talk about drama and people acting crazy. That's my business,
But
like
somehow a whole like insane amount of people flock to you.
it's entertainment. I think
I
all
know, but there's other people redoing. I see other people, and it probably comes up because I watch yours, so
yeah.
it comes up in my feed as other people who do these too. And I think I even told you like Hannibal did a video, and then I saw like Chicago WGN like had about an equal length piece, but they had about a third of the views.
I think that's also something that I think a lot of people are just more interested in looking at more independent content creators having their own opinion. You already know they have biases. They're people. It's not like a news source telling you they're fair and balanced. I think people gravitate towards people that we just, where I'm in my little office, little room, just making some videos. So I think all YouTube is entertaining. Like it's some level of it. I think a lot of us, we watch something while we're waiting at the doctor's office or dentist's office. We're waiting for laundry to be done. So I'm just here to, to bring out some interesting stories and present them in a way that keeps people to watch. And it takes a long time to figure that out. Like, what do people want to watch? It's you in your head, you think and then it could be completely different. Like Tiffany Hayard, I had no interest in talking about her as long as I have. I did that because the people wanted to see it. They asked questions. They would email me. They would, what is going on? And I'm like, I don't give a damn all this. Like, but no, I have to. It becomes a job. Another
But
gig.
now, what do those people want to see?
Well, right now,
Do you know? I mean,
it's it looks like a formula of really crazy people. People are a little off, but they have power, or they get to the power. And I realize that there's a lot of people who do have similar personalities to Tiffany Hayard. And if I find those people that are in power, which surprisingly, Steve, there are tons of them.
there's a lot of them. Yeah.
There are people who are a little bit overconfident. They talk too much. They do the wrong things, but they like to point out when someone else does wrong things. So right now, I'm talking about the Attorney General of my state of New York, Letitia James, and that has become a really big story too, because she's going back and forth with Trump, and it's a whole thing. But she's been accused of mortgage fraud, and one of the documents, she is in a property in Virginia. She put her father as her husband in some of the paperwork.
So she doesn't have a husband?
I don't know.
Or is her father her husband?
I don't think so. I think she did this to get some favorable loans. And she also said that she signed this saying that I live in Virginia as my residence to get this loan. She does not live in Virginia. She's the Attorney General of New York. So like that's been the big story that I've been covering over the last couple of days. So as long as I kind of find some of the goofballs, there's tons of them. So it works, but anyone could find, YouTube is something I think everyone should try out. You never know. You never know. You could find a topic, you could find something that a lot of people are interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I've been having luck over on, and I've been having luck over on TikTok lately too. I mean, for a while I was doing something, and then that whole change happened. They say nothing happened, but it did, and I've been watching some of these creators. So now it's been dog products too, but I've been getting dog products sent to me that I test and I do these ads for. And dude, every time I saw Sarah Elizabeth on TikTok, and I was like, oh, Sarah Elizabeth's on here. I went to her page. Not one of her videos is gig related. They are all products. And she gets these product hauls where she's got boxes like this big.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she just brings them in, just dumps them on the floor of all this TikTok stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good business venture too, because we all, at this point, even me going on Amazon, I don't trust any of the products. I think they're all trash. They're coming from other places where they don't care about how the product is. So I would personally go to someone on YouTube or TikTok that I trust. I've watched enough, like, okay, they will not lie to me and tell me this product is great. Now, some do. Some could just, if you get paid, they'll take the product and say it's amazing. Same thing with people who plug certain kind of companies in their videos. Like, do you already know about this company? Do you trust this company? And I don't know if you're familiar with the FTX situation with Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
the biggest YouTubers in YouTube were shilling for that product. And this guy's, stole billions of dollars from people, but he was paying them so much money. So you want to make sure that you trust a person that you're going to watch and they're going to talk about that product. I mean, I think we had some of similar situations with gig work. I remember certain apps that we talked about. Some people already had like a negative view on it. We talked about like Solo, for instance, when I think Solo is a pretty good product and it's been doing pretty well, but people already were apprehensive. So you got to have to break through as well, because
anything people have to pay for, they're going to get.
Which is understandable. I think
yeah, totally.
Be very, very careful where you spend your money, because you don't know when the next dollar is coming from. So I totally understand. But you got, of course, you got to do your due diligence to make sure.
Well, that's why I was pointing out the TikTok thing too. Like, again, part of my growing there has been like I never thought I'd be doing that. I never thought I'd be, okay, look, here's how this dog bark shutter upper thing works. Here's how this brush works. And I'm doing these and they sell, but there's this whole new thing. And I was watching the people on TikTok too. And they said that no matter what I've been hearing the weirdest advice. It's so night and day different from like a YouTube, because it's like, if you have like, if you have performance that differs on every video and you're not just stuck within like a 50 zone, then you're doing good. But like if videos perform under 100, just delete them. Never had heard that before. Yeah. But they were like, why would you leave it up? Didn't work. And I'm like, good point. I mean,
short form and long form are different. And, I used to do YouTube shorts, but I just realized, short form and long form content are people who are enjoying them are two different people.
Yeah.
And, I think for like my wife, I think she's more interested in the short form unless she's watching a show.
Yeah.
But everyone else, so like, I like long form. I like a little bit of both, but I think I watch more long form than short. So yeah, it's a different strategy.
But you got up to 30 minutes
on
TikTok.
Yeah. And that's interesting.
Or you can go live for 10 hours too. Like Luis goes live, Delivery TV. He goes live every day on TikTok and now doesn't barely do anything on YouTube. Talk to him all the time. He's doing mad good on TikTok.
Must be because a lot of people are interested in watching live. I don't watch lives on TikTok, so that's an interesting.
So thing. every 1,000 people that pass through your live on TikTok, you get $20.
Not bad.
And to those thinking that's a lot, it's not a lot, because when you go live, people, I mean, a click is like a half a second. Somebody just even scrolling you, will count.
They're definitely trying to incentivize to keep you watching. I mean, it's a live, so because. I don't know if I don't know if this is true. I don't know all the business of a lot of these businesses, but I've heard that YouTube is still trying to figure out how to necessarily monetize the lives compared to other companies. I'm assuming they're still putting ads too. So I'm guessing they're trying to make as much money as possible. I don't know. But everyone has to find their thing. Like whatever, where's the audiences? Where is your market? What they want and how they want it.
Yeah,
figure it out. You know what I mean? And then be that person to jump in to say, hey, I'll do the short form at TikTok on a Wednesday midnight, if that's where your customers are.
Or just literally just get on TikTok and just start finding those companies that, I mean, this is how I started. I asked a couple people and they told me, and just find the products that you don't even, if you're like, I would never be on TikTok, you don't have to create any gig content or anything. Just go find all products that have free samples and just order a bunch. And if they come, do a review on them. And even these companies are getting pretty, like, it's pretty cool, because if you don't like the product and they do free sample, you just email them and you just say, I am not a fan. And they actually know, I mean, they're not going to send you more product, but no harm, no foul. They don't care.
Right. You definitely want to make sure that, if it's something that you don't like, you don't think it's a good product, you definitely don't want to put that out there, because one bad shill review can destroy your credibility, where no one wants to trust you again, so they won't bother. So that's kind of cool. I didn't realize, but I realized that TikTok, I don't know, is becoming like the home shopper network.
And that's what I was gonna say, is that like, even like Gary, Gary told me a while ago, he's like, I'm never on TikTok, dude. He's like, it's just ads these days. And I'm like, it's gonna get better or worse or whatever you want to call it, because I think that, like you just said, I think TikTok's going to become where you go buy stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're going to go on it and go, you're not going to say, where are all the short videos of people singing songs and looking like idiots? You're not going to say that anymore. You're just going to go on there and it's going to, the algorithm's so intuitive. It's going to know what you like, who you like presenting it.
Yeah.
And your feed is going to be products that you want to buy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool part, but also the very scary and invasive and weird part of technology, right? In terms of how well that these programs can um, figure out what we want, even
Oh,
though
dude.
it's probably not good for us. They're not guarding you. It's like, no, you don't need that thing to buy. Don't buy it. They're like they'll show it to you.
Yeah.
You need to buy it. Like, no, you really don't. But
yeah, but you and I used to talk about how the phones listen. They do. Like
they
I
do.
could be somewhere and talking about something I've never spoke about. I'll get home, there will be ads for that.
Yeah,
With
absolutely.
TikTok, it's even stranger. It's like I'll scroll and I'm like, never seen that in my life. That's awesome. I got to have it. Never seen that in my life. That's awesome. I got to have it. It's like, how are you knowing this?
Keeping the consumer.
I mean, that's more than checking out what I like. That's like anticipating my future life.
Yeah.
Like,
Right next to your head.
I don't know. I just like the opportunities on there. And like Luis was saying, like he's having a lot more fun on it. There's no restrictions. They don't throttle you. If you're doing the things correctly, like I've heard people say that if you are creating videos, make sure you go to TikTok trend first and make sure that some hashtag that you would use that fits your brand is in the trend, which would be like thousands of hashtags, but you can search them.
Yeah.
And if it's not, don't put like people say, don't put a video up at that time about whatever you're wanting to talk about. Because if it's not trending, you're not going to find anything.
Okay. So it looks like people are figuring out how TikTok works, like on a really deep
Yeah.
level.
And there's like, that's what I'm saying, within the studio, all within the app, guys. These aren't like where you have to have YouTube studio. You don't have to have a bunch of apps and StreamYard. This is just all through TikTok. It's got this like thing where it goes in there and it's like, well, that's not what I'm talking about today. And they're all these people are saying, then don't make it.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question in terms of, because now we're talking about, I guess content creation a little bit. I don't watch obviously I don't watch a lot of content about gig work anymore. How is it? Is it the same? Is it less creators, more creators? Like, all right, like on your YouTube algorithm, like is you seeing some DoorDash vlogs, follow-alongs?
I maybe I watch a very strange niche because like you were saying, I watched Jeff. I've had Jeff on. I watch Geezer. I do things with Geezer. Like mine isn't so much about here we're going to go through A, B, and C today. I'm watching people who are getting very creative and trying to get beyond just
the vlogs of you.
Yeah, let's do DoorDash and here's what you should know today.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And especially if it helps you. If you find a video that you're doing only DoorDash and it helps you, great.
Yeah.
But
not everyone started as long as we have. Like some may have started 6 months ago. I was like, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Kim crushes it. I do stuff with Kim all the time. She crushes it making a DoorDash video every day.
Yeah.
That's her thing now. It used to be all the apps, remember? Now it's just pretty much DoorDash and she gets a lot of views every day. And it's I guess what was long form. Her and I were in a talk about long form, and it took me a while to get there because I'm now at a point where people are probably starting to notice I'm starting to take some of the the podcast. I do it on the members side, and then I chop up pieces through the week. And I've been dropping those pieces, and they're not getting my normal amount of views, but they're getting 100-200. But those are doing more profitable for me than, like you were saying, than the lives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for some reason YouTube hasn't figured it out, but yeah, I would definitely advise, and you're already doing it.
Yeah,
that you're spending an hour talking about something.
Yeah,
you already have in your head, how can I break this up into 4 or 5 segments?
Mm-hmm.
Already have in your head. I also already know how long you're gonna talk about it. What, 10-15 minutes each, and then you can just cut them up and put them out. Yeah, and it definitely would do better than the live. I don't think YouTube promotes streams if you unless you know the person, like you've been watching their content. So like I'll see
Yeah.
your
Yep.
Jeff's
Especially after the live.
right.
When you end that live, like good luck. I don't think anybody will see my live come up
YouTube,
unless you're really always watching.
right. YouTube is just not good. They're pushing because if you ever had a chance, check out YouTube without signing in your username or your name. Just go blind and you'll see what they push out. A lot of it's kind of stupid, but it's family friendly, goofy stuff. They're not putting out on the front page of YouTube how to win with DoorDash. It's just not.
No,
You
no.
have to be watching DoorDash content for YouTube to even push that.
Right. I mean, that's why. I mean, it depends on the space. That's why you being in. I won't. I hate to offend you in political space.
Yeah, it's annoying, but it is because usually
It's not. I actually, you know me. I dig politics because I dig like watching all these people lie and like how they maneuver around it and
right.
just the scumbaggery that surrounds it all. But
That's why I kind of focus on. Like, I'm not trying to be because there's a lot of because if you want to make money, guys, yeah, do conservative topics slanted towards Trump that you like him, you'll do well. That's it. Just I think a lot of people like that kind of content. For me, I don't like really being this like I guess I'm not a Republican or Democrat, right? Like I'm basically, if you have, I'm probably a libertarian, so I'm not gonna have a Trump hat. Fuck it, you talk about how great Trump is. I'm not gonna obviously not talking about how great some of the liberal stuff is. Like I want my stuff to be nuanced, but if you really want to blow up, nuance doesn't work. You need to be all in on one side or the other
yeah,
to get the that passionate the views and all that kind of stuff. But that don't work for me. I'm not interested in doing that. But it does work.
no, but like when you had Tiffany, when you were doing videos on Tiffany, you were taking a stance. Kind of. I mean, like, oh,
Yeah,
your stance was, hey, look at this moron.
she's terrible, but
So it was pretty easy.
oh my god, pick the other side. Like, no, I'm just saying like this is really bad, and you guys, like this and why it's bad compared to one side have all the answers because no one side has all the answers. But those the nuance is not really the most I guess effective way to drive attention. But it works for me, and I guess when my content is more of a reporting on this is look at this goofy thing,
Mhm.
and kind of work with that. But yeah, I guess you could say political space at this point, especially after the last couple of videos. Yeah, I'm in the.
I mean, at least it's not you're not in the political space trying to push a politician down and
Oh
or
no,
be like on their side. You're like kind of exposing.
yeah, I would.
This
I
guy.
say this, man. I would never ever. I mean, even it's hard because there's probably certain things I would like to get done, but politicians they're not honest. They're
No.
very petty and ego driven, and I have enough dealing with other content creators with that personality to do
Mhm.
that every day and trying to win seats, and it wears. I can tell it wears down a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I'm surprised to still see as many people that are like regular people around that are still making the gigs work, and so more power to them too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I speak with all these people, and I know that it's not easy anymore. Not that it ever was easy, but you have to find that balance. And like for me, I mean, I still catch crap all the time because people are like, dude, I can't do that. Courier in my market, not just Curry, but any of them, any of the 100. And guys, there's a reason why there's 100 courier apps and 4 food deliveries and 2 ride shares because courier has a lot of work. So, but there are people who are like in my city I'm not even talking about Curry. I can't do courier work. Well, maybe you can't. I don't know.
Right. You're not everywhere.
I don't live in your city, man. I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
But maybe I'd go there and maybe I would find a way to work it because I now have that kind of courier blood in me and I'm watching for what I know works. So maybe we're looking at it 2 different ways. Maybe your market just isn't good for it. I don't know.
How I guess like you already see how it can work. That's difference between someone that never seen it work. It's like if you accomplish something amazing, it's possible you could try to repeat it. And if you're never able to accomplish it, then you can't even think of is this actually possible? especially let's say for instance you try that app and you try it for a week and it's a terrible experience. And then if you could just wait out maybe a little longer to either learn more about it or just even time, it may flip. But how many people quit? How many people say, I'm not trying that one anymore because I had
Mhm.
that experience? So it depends on how, how strong your follow through and experimenting and trying new things and being uncomfortable. And if you were able to do that, you may break through. So like even for YouTube, it's tons of bad videos, of videos that no one cared about. Or at least that's what YouTube told me. And I could just say I don't want to do this anymore. I'm taking a break. It's you look at it, you're like, oh, got to try it again. Maybe something didn't work. Maybe the topic didn't work. It is simple with everything else though, especially with some of these apps. Hey, this app didn't work, but maybe it's another one, or maybe it's a different time of the day. It's a lot that you can do to see if this actually something's working or something's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go to the TikTok algorithm. There's something about it where it is more advanced. I don't know that it's for the better. So this is why I'm being careful. I don't know that it's for the better, but it's more advanced than YouTube's. Like when a live is done, it's gone. You can't see it. So if I do a live or Luis does one every day, once he's done and you're like, well, I'm going to go look at his stuff, it's gone. And now you're just going to see his videos.
Yeah.
So they know something about that same thing we were talking about with the lives, how they don't get pushed after the fact.
Yeah.
Because on TikTok, they're like, nope, it's gone.
Yeah. And YouTube is paying to keep that hour, 2 hour, 3 hour video on some server.
Yeah.
They got to pay for that. I think IG actually the same thing. Once someone's their live is over on Instagram, there is no video. Like that's it. You missed it. You were there. You should have been there.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. That's interesting.
I mean, one of the things that on one of the upcoming episodes we're going to talk about is some AI work. That's getting like extremely interesting. Although I'm a little skeptical.
Really?
Well, I'm concerned because
I remember when we first started, like Chat GPT first came out. Yeah, you were not a big fan of it, so
I use it now.
Oh, look at that! Look at that change.
I'm growing, man.
Yeah, listen. I mean, now it would weird me out if you had a Roomba in your house. Like that would freak me out.
No.
Chat GPT is not that big.
No, and I mean, I'm using it for the most basic thing. I'll put like 3 sentences in, and I'll be like, write a paragraph on this, so just to populate a description or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like, not. But I mean, the AI stuff where it can do work and stuff is just, like what happened to 3D printers and hybrid cars? Like, now it's nobody will even. What's a 3D printer? Isn't that from the 80s or something? And what's these hybrid cars? Like, I mean, I feel like we're just moving at such a pace where it's like, well, just get to know the software. You mean the software that literally can do things better than me? I'm not sure what I can teach it.
Yeah, but I would say it's still a tool, and if you got to come in with your own brain, if you think that AI is going to do everything for you, you're sadly mistaken. The same thing as a school. I know, like even my son, he's 11, and he likes to try to find answers. If you can, the teacher will know if you wrote this paper. They'll look at it because they know you. They heard you speak. They know if they call on you for the answer, if you know the answer or not. And if they see what you wrote, and they'll realize this is not you.
Unless from day one you're using it.
Even then, you're not always going to be next to your phone or your computer. So if they say, hey, Matthias, come to the front, explain this concept. And if you're mumbling and stumbling and bumbling, and your work is 100 in every paper, every test, you're like, okay, something is up. So it's a tool. It's not. Don't replace your brain, because first of all, AI is wrong, like weirdly wrong. I'm like, yo, dude, that's not it. I just looked at it, and then I would tell the answer, and they're like, oh yeah, and then like move on like nothing happened. So I think they dumbed it down compared to what I used to, because apparently when this first came out, you were able to look up recipes for the anarchist cookbook. Like, hey, how to make a dynamite, and they'll just tell you, oh yeah, just get this, get it, and then had to cut some of that out. I guess that's too dangerous. So it's not
So you
actually
just have to go buy the book instead.
buy the book and say we get to read it, but they've dumbed it down a bit. But you don't want it to replace your brain. Like you gotta still have something between your ears.
I mean, they also had Chat GPT couldn't go back or it couldn't do anything. It had to go back 2 years. Now I think it can just do things in the now.
Yeah, you can search. It could search and it have.
Yeah, remember when it started? It was like it had to go 2 years back at least. We don't know about the most recent 2 years. Now it's like, dude, I know everything. What?
What's going on right now? It's
Yeah.
it's scary, but it's useful. Definitely useful.
But I mean, that's one of the things why I was like flagging it, like, and what Joe's doing. I mean, I like what Joe's doing because I think it looks fun too. Now, in Joe's case, he did tell me, oddly, he came in at a very weird time for doing storage locker buys. And he's turned their whole double garage into his eBay store. And he's got some crazy stuff. But now he's in Detroit and he was doing these. And I guess he came in at a time when this had been happening for a while. But about a month and a half into it, they stopped letting people do it in person. And now you have to do it online because people were getting shot at these.
Oh, Jesus. Well, he's in Detroit. So.
I mean, like, what you bet on it, you get it, and as soon as you load it up, somebody shoots you and takes it.
I wouldn't show up either. I would not show up either. I would go to the other town somewhere else.
Well, and that's what it is. It's like an eBay bidding. He was showing me, like, I watched one of his videos, and he's on there, like, going, okay, it's gonna be mine, it's gonna be mine. Somebody bidding. He's like, okay, got my last bid. There it is. It's mine. And it was his. And then he's like, and then I wait, and then it would say like what date and time to come pick it up.
I guess you trust that no one's gonna mess with this.
That's what I was thinking too, man. I'm like, what about the guy who was holding the video camera, looking in that thing the whole time before he shuts and locks it? He's gonna
watch at the edge of the thing. I would say most likely something did happen because how would you know? But I guess that's better than showing up and getting robbed. So I guess
yeah.
But that's I got that. I never heard of like online auction of storage.
Yeah, cool. and like when he does it, you have like some of them have like 3 cameras. So I've watched his videos where he's like, one of them's up high and you can look down at an angle. And he's like, what is that in the back?
Because they don't let you walk.
So it literally is like Storage Wars. Right. I know Hannibal in the start said it was somewhat staged. And it was.
Right.
But I mean, it's fun watching Joe do it because it's not staged, and he's wondering what it really is. Like, what is that back there?
Has he told you like his most like profitable item he ever found?
No, in 2 weeks we'll have him on here. So
okay, I'll check that out.
I mean, that's I'm interested.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I mean, I'm interested because Max is going off to college. I'm about to do a huge sale here. Obviously, like of a bunch of our stuff, his kids' toys, things like that. I've just been hanging on to for too long.
eBay, they got Let Go, Facebook, and stuff like that. They got a lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of eBay channels on Facebook. Oh, not Facebook, YouTube. I haven't watched them in a while, so I don't know. Again, it could be same as gig work. It's maybe people are still doing it. It may be struggling, but I remember that. So there's a few channels that's what they did. They sold stuff on eBay.
Yeah. I mean, all of these. I guess that's what I'm trying to point out is that like. We'll dig into different ones every week, but all of these are it. Look, all of you want to avoid a W-2. I don't know if it's flexibility anymore, but I know that you all want to avoid a W-2. I do too. I'm especially after this much time away from them. I think I'd be fired the first day. I know I'd lip off to the wrong manager. I know it. And the person working would probably be like, dude, that's the one manager you don't mess with. And I'd be like, I'm messing with him. I don't care. I just know I would, and I know I'd be fired. I'm just not in that mindset to have somebody bark orders at me right now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a jerk. I mean, if it was something I just absolutely had to do, oh my God, my life has been to do this. Yes, I would go in with a better attitude. But taking a W-2 of like, I'm just doing this for the paycheck, good luck, man. I'll be fired. And I don't get fired, but I would get fired.
Oh, it just wouldn't work out. Literally.
I just know that like my head just isn't there, man. It's since the pandemic. And I still was doing my own work before the pandemic. But I know that now it would be very difficult for me to go back to a W-2. And
yeah,
I don't know. I just
gotta know what works for you. And I obviously like if you had to, like if you had to, you would. But if you
Oh
don't
yeah.
have to, then yeah, why be
And
bothered?
that's what I'm hoping this kind of opens up, is that I have things I don't do. I just need to get them into my head of what they are, because I have people say to me all the time, "Hey, you want to do this project for me?" or weird stuff that really isn't what I do, but they know that I've done it, or that I have some kind of ties to. I don't know. I get a lot of opportunities in front of me, and
Yeah,
a lot of my life has been Max. I know you have your kid, but I got to start grabbing all of them, man. Like, and really looking at them instead of just going, "Yeah, I'm so busy." I need to grab everything and go, "Wait, what is this?"
yeah. What makes the most sense? And, what's the most efficient use of your time, where you could have been doing something else that could have been
Yeah.
more profitable? But yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't want to do too many different things, obviously.
No.
Yeah, but you wanna prioritize and figure out what's the best opportunities, and it's possible. I would say, I think, if this is like the end of our talk here, but to the people who are watching this, spend some time to think and spend some time going through some ideas of what you could do other than what you're currently doing,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of focus on what you think can work. But I also would like to say that for YouTube, I don't know if you should jump into YouTube to try to make money. I that is
No,
probably,
no, no. I mean, you mean if you don't do YouTube?
well, to say, well, I'm going to be a YouTuber because I want to make money. Because my son
Right,
said,
right, right, right.
my son says, "Yeah,
Although you always said that, and you made it happen, so you're
I
success
didn't,
case. So.
yeah." He looks, which is fine, because at least he's looking at someone that's in the office all day doing this, so he kind of understands the effort. But
Right.
you I don't, because the problem is, if you come in without the at least a passion to either express yourself or educate or entertain, if you don't have that passion, you're going to spend a lot of times making videos that no one's going to watch. And are you able to handle that? If you
Yep.
can handle that, then that may be an issue. But I would say, for certain situations, if you already have a skill, either you're a mechanic or you're able to play an instrument, you're able to do something, you can make that YouTube video right now. Even if, and you don't need to have 1 million subscribers or 1 million views to get a business. I don't think you may know this person. His name is the Amazing Hustler. I don't know if you check out his content
I
anymore.
think, I haven't seen him in a while. I think I know who you're talking about.
Tall dude,
Yeah.
small head.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Small
got
head. Did you say small head?
I have a big head. Okay. My wife says I have a big head all the time. He, he's doing the DoorDash. He's not really happy with it. He still make content. He always gets upset about the non-tippers, and he's going through this. But the first time that I've watched it, maybe last week, he said, You know what? I love basketball." He's tall, dude. I think he's 6'4", tall, lanky dude. And his son plays. I think he's like high school or junior high. And he started to do basketball camps. He's not even in charge of right now. He has a few kids, and he's I guess, found a place to play, and he's teaching them some stuff, because he's I guess he's decent enough to teach. And he's like, "Man, I love this. I may do a camp." And
Mhm.
and if he hopefully he follows through on this. But if you're able to teach kids the fundamentals of basketball, and obviously the other lessons that happens as young boys grow to men, that's a business.
Mhm.
YouTube channel. You could talk about this. You could show the kids doing the drills, and then it's a local thing. So the people who are in that area say, "Hey, teach my kid. My kid needs to learn the fundamental," like stuff like that.
Yeah.
That kind of came out of his love for basketball. So he already has a passion for it. He already plays it often enough, and now he can make content that can help bring a business of teaching kids how to play basketball, like stuff like that.
And if you're somebody that's great at basketball, and you're like, "But I don't have a kid. How am I going to get into this?" I mean, like, I can tell you guys no, but I can tell you guys that my son works at the rec center, and he coaches many teams. He coaches, like, during the season, he'll coach like 2 basketballs. He coaches like 3 footballs, different ages of kids. He's always kind of the guy, like, he'll ream them. He's way harder than I was. I was such a nice coach to the kids, to the little kids. Max is out there like kicking the cans and screaming, and I'm like, "Dude, settle down, man." But like, there aren't enough coaches ever. I don't care where you live, ever.
Mhm.
Like, they split teams up, and sometimes you got too many people sitting who don't get to play because of it. If you were to walk up to a rec center and you see a bunch of groups of kids and you saw some coaches and you asked them and said, hey, I play, I guarantee you, and within 10 minutes, they're going to say, hey, you want to coach a team?
Yeah.
That's how easy they're going to want you, because they're going to say, and then all of a sudden you've got your foot in the door, you're doing it. Maybe you're not getting paid. Maybe you're just doing it. But now, like you were saying, maybe you could do some private coaching. Maybe you'll get an idea to start your own business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was actually pretty cool that I saw him kind of, because he was, kind of struggling through gig work, because where he lives, DoorDash is, I guess that's the main app, but it just doesn't pay a lot. So you have to kind of sit back and kind of think like, hey, what else can I do that, yeah, you may not necessarily make a lot of money right now, but you can build it to something that can generate some income, even a little bit. So like talking about, the dog walking, I'm happy I never quit it, because there are some slow times on YouTube. There's times where I'm like, yeah, these videos, I'm trying to figure out the next story and I'm making them, but I'm just not making what I'm used to making. And taking care of dogs. I'm taking care of 2 dogs right now. Like that's the steady ship that keeps me making sure I can pay the bills and be comfortable. So like, even if you are doing well in one gig, doesn't mean you quit everything. I probably do not. I would say do not quit everything. You should always have more than one way to make the money. So
your ears must have been buzzing. What's up?
oh,
He's in there.
but,
he was talking. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But he was also talking about Dennis playing basketball too.
Yeah.
But he's again, though, I mean, like I'm telling you, my son coaches 3 teams. He doesn't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
He has a job with the parks department and the city. So he's the person who's been at the rec center the longest, and he's 18. I mean, he basically runs the show for the pools.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had a friend come in town and said to Max, like a friend that's known us forever, hasn't been through in a while. He came into town and Max went to pick him up from the airport because I was busy. And when he was driving him back, he's like, so how do you like working at the rec center? He's like, do you get does it get a little kind of like weird with where you are and just what's going on in Denver? And Max just kind of shut up our friend Jason, and he was like, he said, he goes, oh, dude, I don't worry about any of that. He goes, my problem is the pedophiles. He goes, it sucks that there's a place for $5 where the pedophiles can go to a therapy pool and have a boy fucking walk along with them.
Right. Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was like, oh, gross. I was like, I didn't even think of it till you just said it, dude. I'm like, do you deal with that? He's like, all the time.
Oh, wow.
He's like, but we always make the newbies deal with the pedos.
Yeah. Gotta get them out.
I was like, oh, you're learning business. Nice, man.
Like, maybe that'd be a good thing. Comes in, just take care of the like, wait, where is he? What's he doing? But I think you're right. I think especially with kids, especially young men, that we definitely need more role models out there. We need people that come in and kind of help them. Even with, the basketball is obviously the main reason why, or the sport that they're talking about, but it's more than that. It's about, teaching them accountability, teaching them how to discipline, following through when they're upset, how to handle that, how to handle other people. So those are good skills, man. And yeah, it's possible to get some kind of money from it. Again, don't jump in thinking you're going to be a millionaire, but it's possible. It's better than the DoorDash, just doing DoorDash.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're doing it, I mean, even Jeff was here saying that about what you were talking about with YouTube. Yeah. Even for all the people that don't do YouTube or think, well, the space is dead, why would I do it now? Just, you're out there doing it, do it. Right. Especially, I know a lot of people who love the ride-alongs. And if you love ride-alongs and you're doing gig work, do ride-alongs.
Absolutely.
See what happens. I don't know. I mean,
it just takes one video to kind of take off. And a lot of it, sometimes it's you passionately talking about something that may have happened during that day, something that happened during a delivery where you really feel like you need to say something. Either something upset you, something bothered you, or something that amazing happened. Those experiences, people will relate to them because they're going through it. Or sometimes they just need a pick-me-up. We have a little rant session about something that happened. So those things are very, very valuable. And if you're already in your car, You already have the camera. You already have the phone holder. Probably you could just
Yeah.
press record and upload it.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, maybe it helps you with your public speaking. Maybe that helps you go land a job. Maybe you do want a W-2, but only one. You've been trying to be a brain surgeon your whole life. You went to brain surgeon school. You graduated top of your class, but nobody ever gave you a job as a brain surgeon. I don't know why. But all of a sudden, you're making some videos and you're like, I can speak for myself a little better now. I need to go talk to these people and see why they're not hiring me. And you're like going in going, I was top of my class. I'm the best brain surgeon there is. Hire me.
Yeah.
Maybe your confidence
You
goes
talk
up.
to an inanimate object really well. Yeah, you can probably talk.
Again, guys, I'm not a brain surgeon, so
No.
But yeah, this is what we're gonna do on Tuesdays. Like I said, Geezer's coming on. I got Joe coming on to teach us how to buy lockers and what he's doing, because he's actually, I've been talking to him. He hasn't been doing it that long, and he's loving it and he's making money.
Yeah, definitely check that out, because that could be something I could. Well, I don't know. Well, as long as the lockers are not in the Bronx, maybe I would check it out. I don't get shot.
And I mean, and are we in a time where that might be literally the timing of that might be just about perfect right now with everything going on?
In a sad way, but yes, you're correct.
I mean, seriously. I mean, eBay kind of died off for a while.
Yeah.
Everybody used Amazon forever. And now, there's going to be some trade differences or whatever. There might be some price differences for a minute, but
sell used items on Amazon, right? Like, can you eBay? Can you do it with eBay? When you could do an eBay, you could do an Amazon. Like,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, everyone still use Amazon, obviously.
I don't know if can you sell used? I don't know if you can sell used on Amazon.
I can buy used things on Amazon.
You can?
But I don't know if that's from a company or that's an individual seller. It's probably individual sellers, probably.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, even eBay, maybe even eBay's, because he's set up an eBay store. I don't think he's doing Amazon.
Okay.
He goes and he buys everything and he puts it in his garage and he does all of his photographing, and
eBay's still a thing. You can still buy. I haven't, but I'm sure it's still.
So yeah, but I mean, like, he's buying these just like we saw in Storage Wars. I saw him get one for $170. In there, he had like I think there was like a Gordie Howe jersey. For those that don't know, Gordie Howe goes back to the original 6 of hockey. I mean, that's a Detroit Red Wings jersey that's worth some money. That's probably worth the whole locker right there.
Wait, what is his Storage Wars name? What's his nickname?
Joe on the Go.
Joe on the Go. Okay.
On YouTube too.
Cool. I gotta check it out.
He's fun. You just go to Joe on the Go, and yeah, he's got some weird videos. He was always he's a good personality.
Entertaining.
Yeah, so he's fun to watch. But yeah. But that's what that's the hope here is to we'll pop on some things some weeks or whatever. I got Josh B coming on because Josh was asking me about load boards, and I said Google search it, and he goes, I did, and I can't find them. So I Google searched it, and I'm like, why isn't he finding these? I Google searched load boards, they all came up, and I was like, he didn't even try. So Josh is going to be on, and we're going to go through what load boards are. The load boards are all non-app courier work,
right? Yeah, and I don't have a lot of experience at least researching that, but from what I heard that there's definitely an art to doing it. It's similar to the app where it's physical, but there's going to be people who are willing to take a lot less to get the job, and you gotta be able to be comfortable not taking the crap, because there are just desperate people out there that undercut everybody. So I know a little bit about that in terms of load boards.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dumpling Vacation, which we had already talked about, but I'm going to be talking about just the vacation aspect. Geezer's coming on about starting your own business or fleet. And Gigwise is asking Josh B or why Josh B. And yes, it will be interesting. I've had him on one other live. Josh is exactly who he's always appeared to be, like a troll in our things, but he's funny and he's a good guy. So, but yeah, we're going to talk about that, and that's kind of, that's just, I feel like I need to get a little new direction of bringing some of the other things I do in. I'm even going to bring some of my production work in. So I saw Lisa asking if I still do it. Of course I still do it. I've been doing it since 97, so long time. Almost 30 years. But yeah, I mean, that's what this is going to be. It's going to be on Tuesday nights, and then a couple other things I'm going to be doing too. And everybody should not miss this Thursday on the roundtable. So that's all I'll say about that. Don't miss it. Yeah, it's a big deal. So, and again, everybody knows Hannibal, and if you haven't watched his stuff in a while, I don't even know. There's so many that if you haven't watched any of these Tiffany Henyards, we got to find like the one everybody should watch that hasn't watched. Because if you guys all remember Hannibal, these are pretty insane. And this lady, I don't know. I don't know how she got away with this forever. When Mayor Beetlejuice was investigating her, I'm going, this is who the investigation team is? Like,
Lori Lightfoot was at the inauguration yesterday. She was one to dig into. Listen, I don't know what's in.
I feel like somehow she became a good person in the eyes of people because of Tiffany.
Right. It was a good PR for her. I don't know if she's going to try to run for the mayor again. I mean, the mayor right now in Chicago is pretty bad, so maybe. But I don't know what's in the water in Illinois. It's a wild place. It's an absolute wild place. So it's easy to cover it when it's so crazy.
Yeah. But that's all I got for tonight, guys. And I just wanted to thank Hannibal for helping me get this kicked off and slayed the mayor.
Appreciate the invite. Also, listen, anytime you need me, always let me know.
Yeah. I mean, look at guys. I mean, you guys want to, I mean, you're looking at how you build something. I mean, like I got one of the biggest YouTubers on YouTube here, and it's not me.
But yeah, if you're cool with the marathon, like you like the marathon of it all, then yes, I think trying it and doing YouTube, even if you don't ever make a ton of money, I think it's still, like you said, just practicing skills, like your speaking skills, expressing yourself, editing, understanding things, and you learn so much. I mean, I've learned everything it takes to do all this stuff on YouTube. I didn't go to class.
You've learned how to moderate. You've learned how to zip people, like how to, hey, enough out of you without having to be like that. I mean, I've learned that stuff too. That's good.
Yeah.
These are good skills. That
personalities as we do live streams, and I mean, you've been around a lot of interesting personalities. We've met them personally. Like you learn so much from this medium here. So definitely embrace it, even if you're not necessarily looking to be, well off with it. I think it's still worth doing it.
But I mean, look, Vinny Coos is in here. Jeff's in here, Gigwise, a bunch of Lisa's in, a bunch of you guys are in here, but people that have all changed their channels are in here. Mike Drop Barbecue was even like Uber Jeep Arizona. So he even changed his name, but then he changed it to, man, I'm going to show you guys how to take these companies down because I'm sick of it. And like Hannibal and I were saying, like he's doing the right thing. I mean, I love what Jeff does. I love that he tells you to do that. Vinny's always telling you, you guys have exit plans, have this. I've known these guys a minute. This wasn't always the case about what we were saying. So the buzz is, we've always said multiple streams of income, but look into everything and anything. That's why I was saying, even I need to be better. I get offered things where I'm just too damn busy and I'm like, But like, what about, like Hannibal said, like, I don't want to have one well go dry on my streams of income. And I passed on something I didn't even look at.
Right. Definitely. The opportunities come and you at least want to give a really serious thought into, is this actually worth pursuing or not?
Yeah. I mean, so, hey, I'm all for, I guess I'm all for all the channels doing this. And I hope that we get a buzz going here, because I think that with everybody's questions and interaction that we'll get going in the next episode too, get that all kicking off, that, we'll get conversations going, and even that could spark something that isn't about the conversation. Maybe next week it's Geezer and I, maybe you'll watch and you'll go, I don't want to start a truck fleet, but I got an idea from what you guys talked about.
Absolutely. Perfect. Yes.
So it's not going to always be what we're talking about, but we're going to try and always make it worth listening, because it's not just going to be, hey, what times do you work DoorDash? Like, I don't care. I'm going to be honest. I don't care. Because all I care about for the people are that you're making the best money you can and you're happy.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, if you like the midnight shift, I don't. So I mean, there's some differences there that I just don't care anymore. I work the gig apps and I use them. I'm going to be honest. I use them. They're a tool. I use them to make money when I want, how I want, and I have no love for them at all anymore. It's just it is, but that happens at W2s and even ones you stay at. You hate your boss or something, but you stay there. So that's kind of it's just kind of where it's at. It's gone so far, but I use it now as okay. I need a little extra money this week. I'll work this and this, you know. And I'm trying to build everything to be my own instead of so much, because for years around the pandemic and out, I was counting on it even more than I was before. And so now, and I saw all my production work disappear during those years. Now it's all back. So now all these things, all the pieces are falling in a different way. And I feel like it's happening for a lot of you guys listening as well. So
yeah,
we should all learn from Hannibal, and Hannibal pivoted 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
basically, yeah.
So
I'm fine, but yeah.
Hey, thank you, Vinny. You guys are the coolest, man. See, that's how I make money. I can't work the gigs apps anymore. I just sit here till there's a super chat and go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then YouTube takes their cut, and I'm just kidding. But yeah, Hannibal, thank you. This is gonna help me because now I feel like it's kicked off. That was 30 months, guys, between season 1 and season 2.
Thank you for bringing it back. Thank you. Like you said,
it was look, Tony named it. Hannibal and I created the idea. I remember Driven Dad, Tony named it.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there in one of the episodes and we're like, what do we call this? And Tony was beyond the algorithm. Okay, that's it. So, but I think it's what a lot of I think it's a buzz that people need to get on, because I'm not saying that, and I never have, but I'm not saying that it's over and you need to get out of gig work, but it needs to be a tool.
Right.
And I'm not trying to tell anybody how they need to be, but it needs to be a tool, and everybody needs to see it that way, because it's just like YouTube. What if, like, again, we have this different thing in Colorado, but what if you're in a different state and you get deactivated and 90% of your income comes from DoorDash and you don't get reactivated? Now what?
That's the plan. Yeah, you need a plan,
because it's probably been years. Do you have letters of recommendation? Maybe that's an episode we'll do. You know, gathering some of those. Like a lot of you, I'd write them for. Hell, I got a couple boxes left to Para letterhead. I'll put it on Para letterhead and give you guys a referral. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, it might not hurt to start getting some things in order, putting a file together but I'm not going to go to a W2. Who cares? Get it together so that you feel better. And maybe you could, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's time to start really. Again, we're all different ages. We're all at different places, but I think we're all at the same. I know we are. We're all at the same place as distance out from the pandemic. And I have used that as a metric for a long time. And it's a different time now. And I guess we'll see what happens. But I think that we all know, and this is what I would leave it on, is that never once have we seen gig pay go up.
Absolutely not.
Never.
I can't even figure out. I can't figure one. I'm sure there is. I just don't know it.
No, I don't even know.
If there is. Major ones, like maybe it's something obscure that we're not thinking of. But no, it's all we have to work more to get the same amount of money.
Even if they're not as oversaturated as they'd like to be in a market, it's still down pay.
So yeah, I'm trying to think.
You know, I was on Vinny's Rideshare Garage last Wednesday, and we were talking, and I said to him that there's got to be a problem with your business model when you're paying less per mile than the tax write-off.
I've said that for a long time. That the business model doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can add in time and stuff too, but when they're paying, when UberX is paying you 55 cents a mile and you can write off 70, something's not right there.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it just isn't. And So yeah, that's what I got, and I want to thank Hannibal. I don't have an intro or an outro yet, so when this will just be a hard edit cut. I'm gonna have to find something. Maybe
You'll,
Hannibal and
you'll
make me
get.
something awesome, or I'll get into some AI tonight. I'll do something because I did go to something AI, and it said you can have 5 free uh attempts at this, and it was something I was playing with, and it was for art, and I said make my logo, and I wrote like 3 sentences or 2 sentences, and it made 5 logos in 2 seconds.
Look at Steve embracing the robots.
I hated it though. All the logos were stupid, dude, and they did not grab it, so the robots don't know.
When are you gonna get a Tesla? What's the next? When are you gonna get that Tesla?
I'm gonna get a Tesla. I'm a gas guzzling. Look, man, I got to get up mountains and stuff. I'm not trusting a Tesla or an electric anything.
Not gonna become a Waymo spokesperson yet? Not yet.
No, dude. No. I'd first rather be one of those people that drops the cinder blocks on them over the.
Yeah, no, in the drones. Yeah, shoot the drones.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not. That part of me probably will never change. That's why they want my generation gone. Because they're like, it's coming, and you guys are gonna do stupid stuff like shoot it down and stuff, and we're like, yeah. Welcome to Colorado. So, but yeah, thank you, Hannibal. Thank you, everybody, and be back here next Tuesday. But check out the Roundtable Thursday. You guys won't want to miss it. All right, y'all. Good night.